the Vegas Summer League, LeBron James, the 40-year-old, exercised a $52.6 million player option with the Lakers last month. He's entering a record 23rd NBA season, but quotes from Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul the day Bron opted in sparked some intrigue about Bron's future in LA. Dave McMenamin is in Vegas with more.
The question on everybody's mind is, where will LeBron be playing next season? What caused the speculation was a statement by LeBron's agent, Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul, given to ESPN's Shannon when James opted into the final year of his contract with the Lakers for $53 million last month, when Paul said LeBron intends to play on a championship contender for whatever time is left in his career. Now, I've checked in with both the Lakers and LeBron's camp on this one. For the Lakers, it's business as usual. They have motivation to compete at the highest level and maximize not just LeBron's timeline, but they want to compete now with Luka Doncic. Some have posited that the true cause of this situation was the Lakers not offering LeBron a contract beyond next season, but Rich Paul told me that they never asked for one. Paul also made it clear to me that LeBron has not asked for a trade, and Paul hasn't even discussed the possibility of wanting a trade in the future with the Lakers. Paul did tell me that 4 teams contacted him with interest in trading for LeBron, though. Now, I asked LeBron just before tip-off if he'd like to join the broadcast to discuss everything, and he told me, quote, "I ain't got nothing to talk about."
Hey, we got a lot to talk about with LeBron entering an unprecedented 23rd NBA season. And if last year showed us anything, it's that he's barely lost a step. The King passed Michael Jordan's 2002-03 season with the Wizards as the oldest player to lead his team in total points in the season. Bron topped the Lakers last year.
Lakers in 2020, making him the 4th player in NBA history to win a title with 3 different teams. All right, let's bring back John Gonzalez and Tim Doyle with an eye on the LA Lakers. And when it comes to LeBron James, Tim, how do you envision this final year? He's never played on the final year of his contract before. He's going to be doing it this year. How are you entering King James in LA this year?
I think he finishes the season on the Lakers. I know that there's a lot of speculation of other moves that could be made and the aprons that teams have been dealing with and trading this guy. I mean, recently we saw a trade where how many teams were involved? 8 different teams were involved in a trade. But I think he finishes this season with the Lakers, and the reason why is his son's on the team. By the way, raise your hand if you had over Bronny James 28 points last year. I gave that out on HQ, Tommy and John, okay? He finished with 62 points. But this is like classic business. Like, you get your son in, right? You teach him the ropes for a few years, and then you say, all right, buddy, like, go fly your own way. So I think he sees through this entire season, and a credit to Bronny. Remember, he had that issue at USC where we're all concerned about him and his health. He has bounced back, and honestly, eyeball test, he's getting a lot better day by day. Is he deserving of an NBA spot? You know, I think that's obviously open to debate, but I saw him recently in a Summer League game make a huge steal, a very athletic dunk. You know, he's lucky that his dad's one of the 3 greatest NBA players of all time, but that's life. You want to know something? I'm going to help out my kid when he comes to the right age and trying to open doors for him. So I do believe, John, when it's all said and done, when this season is over, he's still on the Lakers.
Tim, I will also help out your kids when they're ready, so you just let me know about that. As for LeBron, yeah, I think he's factors in for now, right? When you have Luka and LeBron, you've got a chance, but the West is absolutely loaded, and I don't think they're as good as the defending champs, Oklahoma City. I don't think they're as good as the Rockets, who now have KD and added Dorian Finney-Smith, who, by the way, used to play for the Lakers, now plays in Houston. And I don't think they're as good as the Nuggets either, because the Nuggets have the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, and they got better this offseason. So at some point, if you're LeBron, you're playing on that final year, as Tommy said, do you look around and go, man, like, this might not be my last year, but it could be. And if it isn't my last year, it's close to my last year, and I'm running out of chances to actually win another ring. And I know he was on his podcast with Steve Nash talking about how ring chasing and ring chasing culture is weird, and he doesn't like how people apply it to him. I don't buy any of that. I think he would love to win one more championship, and I don't know that it's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be in LA this season. So if it's not going to be there this season, maybe he thinks about, okay, where could it potentially be? There's been conversations about Cleveland, maybe the Knicks. The money makes it difficult because you got to match that salary, but I just wonder, I mean, like, unhappy LeBron, where he's kind of floating the idea of, am I going to be around already through his agent? Just like smoke and fire generally equate with him, and I think we're getting some of that right now.
Which I think is interesting, given given what Rich Paul said recently, John, to your point, it's like, why disclose this stuff now if you're trying to sort of establish this line perhaps of demarcation about, hey, get us some help to win a title, yet everything that they plan to do probably revolves around Luka Doncic, which has the conversation of when, if not already, this is going to be Luka Doncic's team. And John, I'm going to give you first word because I wrote it as if it's already Luka's team. The Rob Pelinka is going to be making moves for Luka. They're not going to mortgage everything to win a title this year. But if it's not Luka's team now, John, when will it be this season?
Yeah, well, it already is. I mean, the second that they traded for him, he's 26 years old. LeBron James, the greatest player of his generation. Depending on your mileage on this thing, he's the greatest player of any generation. He's that good, but he's going to be 41 in December. Luka's 26, right? The second that they decided, LeBron James would have loved, Tommy and Tim, to have another extension on a contract, right? Another 1-and-1 where he knows he's playing on this year and he's got a player option for next year. The Lakers normally would have done something like that for LeBron because they like to reward their stars. Smartly, though, they looked at this and went, look, as much as we love LeBron and thank you for your service, we got to play this thing out over the long term, which is why they had LeBron opt into his player option and decided not to extend him because now they know next offseason they're going to have a massive amount of cap space. And also critically, if they really kind of like pump the brakes on this team building this year and they don't move any of their draft picks, they could have as many as 3 first-round picks to move at the draft next year. It would be next year's draft pick plus 2031 plus 2033. If you're looking at all that money plus those assets, now all of a sudden you could probably reboot this thing on the fly. And oh, by the way, you also have to pay Austin Reeves. So yeah, LeBron, it's been real, but it's Luka's team now.
You know, it's interesting how you took that question because I don't disagree with you. You looked at it from a basketball standpoint. I looked at it from like a fan standpoint. Like, who's going to say, yeah, I'm going to go see the Lakers and Luka? No, like, you still go see the Lakers because LeBron's on the team. Like, he still has that draw, even though, you know, he's been doing it for so many years. I legit think it'd probably be like 90-10 as far as how many people think, you know, this is Luka's team. Just like from a marketing standpoint, from a ticket sales standpoint, you're talking X's and O's in basketball, John, and I believe you're right. When I saw the question, I just looked at it like, all right, I am going to go pay for tickets with my family. I'm going to go see the Lakers and LeBron. So I looked at this question differently. I believe that this is his last year there. So it will be Luka's team next year. Once LeBron exits, it will be Luka and the Lakers. But this upcoming season, it's still LeBron and the Lakers.
Tim, we saw this past season LA needed a big, and they weren't able to get that in enough time. They did get DeAndre Ayton. How should he help this team?
Well, I mean, you know, we're talking about a former #1 pick, obviously played in the NBA Finals with the Suns. I think that he's a very serviceable big. My biggest concern with the Lakers is not in the regular season. It's in the postseason. Can they really lock down defensively and get key defensive stops? And LeBron James at his age is not the same defender that he once was in his career. Luka Doncic, there's no D in Doncic, just Oncic with O. It's just all about offense. So when I see this team, I see a lot of great regular season wins, but like, can you get key defensive stops over the course of a 7-game series against a high-profile team like Houston and OKC? I have big-time doubts, but as far as their success in the regular season, I think they're going to be really good.
John, what do you think with J.J. Redick? How does he navigate this season, given the way last year ended somewhat combative at times, especially in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, JJ, he's the head coach of the Lakers, right? So you're always under a certain amount of pressure. I did think that they overachieved on the whole last year, Tommy. I mean, ending up as the 3rd seed in a loaded Western Conference is pretty good when not a lot of people had that kind of expectation. Plus, you had that massive trade in the middle of the season where you're integrating one of the great players of all time with one of the great players of his current generation in Luka Doncic. So there's a certain amount of responsibility and expectation that comes with that. But when I look at the Western Conference, we're thinking at a minimum 13 to 14 teams put Utah off to the side, but pretty much everybody else, whether it's realistic or not, in the Western Conference thinks that they can make the postseason next year. So the Lakers, I think, are in that like upper